it's Mallory. Welcome back to my channel. On this episode of What's Mallory Gonna Talk About, I had a lot of people talk or ask me about how I have been able to self-reflect and be able to look at myself and be like, you are a good person. And that's a really hard thing for a lot of people. And it's because I'll word it like this. I used to self destruct a lot before I self reflected. Like, I would sit there and I'd hold all of the bad things inside me because I'm like, I'm a positive person. I'm gonna be a good person, and I'm just gonna, like, not even talk about the bad stuff. Fuck that. I don't need that. I don't need that energy in my life. But, like, you holding that in, you not, like, reflecting on what you have done bad or you've, like, had a negative experience, that's just holding you in. And, like, I used to call it my semi-annual breakdown. I would literally hold everything in. I'd put on that strong face. I would basically try to, like, be fuck all that negativity. And then twice a year I would sit down and, like, something small would happen, and then it would snowball effect into this and that and this and that, and then I sat there, like, after 3-4 hours of crying, like, numb. Like, after you cry a lot and then you're just like, you can't cry anymore. Yeah, that happened to me all the time. And it's not healthy. Not healthy, people. Not healthy at all to do that. You need to be able to express yourself. You should be able to look at your life and reflect back on it and be like, I'm not that person anymore. And that's okay. A lot of people have this idea that once you are one way, you can never go back. Once you I guess a really overused example is once you're a cheater, you're always a cheater. And I'm not saying that I've ever cheated because I've really never been in a relationship, really. But I think if someone does cheat and they, like, are able to talk about it openly, about what they did, I think a lot of people's mind would change about that. And I don't know, self-reflecting, I really want to put this down, but I don't want to fucking spell it. I'm on my bed. But yeah, I did that for a long time. I self-destructed. I let everything eat me up and just put on this, like, I'm positive. I'm a good person. Everyone loves Mallory. But I didn't love Mallory. I sat in the back and I'm just like, man, you've done some shady shit, bitch. No good, no good. But it wasn't until I took my year off of school, I moved back to Wisconsin. I really, like, talked to my parents about all the things that I was holding in from my childhood. I talked to my parents about that. I'm closer with them now than ever, like, before. Like, I've always loved my parents. I will never say I do not love them, but just, like, I feel like every child has that feeling of, man, my parents kind of did a shit job. Like, they could have done better. And there's no it's not a bad thing to think. And again, if I think more parents were open to hearing what their child has to say, that their child is not a clone of them, that when they think differently, it's not like they hate them. And I think that was a huge thing with my parents, is that I don't think like them. I'm very my own person. And it doesn't mean that I don't love them. It doesn't mean that I don't, like, care about them. It's just like, man, I probably would never do that if I were you. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine. And I don't know, after that year of being home, talking to my parents, really start reflecting on how I acted the last, like, 4 years of college. I don't know, I realized that I really wasn't putting myself out there as myself. I was putting myself out there to be liked, to be wanted by people. And I thought people didn't want negativity. People didn't want to hear that sad bullshit. And so I just, like, didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about anything besides the good things. And it's just not realistic to do that. So for anyone out there that is really just stuck, they're feeling like no matter how positive they are, they're not, like, getting anywhere, maybe you should look towards the not so positive parts. Realize that you can talk about the negative things and you can, like, express how you feel about them. Like, write, paint, write poetry. That's what I started doing. I started writing poetry, and like it doesn't even have to like rhyme. Like a lot of my poetry does not fucking rhyme. But it's a way of expressing how I felt in that moment or how I felt about that instance. Like it's you make the negative things a beautiful thing in a way. Like everything doesn't have to be negative, is bad, is ugly, is that. It's like no, negative can be a turning point in your life. Negative can be like a new start. I don't know. But yeah, that is the conclusion of this one. I got this shirt from this girl that I follow on YouTube, and on, or not on YouTube anymore, on Instagram, Koala Puffs. Her name's Angela. And I don't know, guys. Michigan, I live in Michigan, and weed's legal here now, like recreationally. So I'm thinking maybe of starting a weed tube too, because fuck it, bro. I like smoking weed. And it's like it has been a very eye-opening experience for when like you meet new people and like you smoke a blunt with them or something and they're just like, man, I just love people. I love interacting. I love everything about it. So I think I might start a weed tube just to like smoke with people on the internet. But again, rambling. So peace and love, bitches.